Good evening to one and all present here. I am Ms. Amrita Ishita, and I welcome you all to meeting number 322 of the Amrita Toastmasters Club. Here at the Amrita Toastmasters Club, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Before we begin our 322nd meeting, I request everyone to please keep their mobile switched off or on mute. Also, a disclaimer: discussion of sex, religion, and politics is prohibited in adherence to the rules of Toastmasters International, and any mention of the institution is also prohibited. Kindly try to use formal language and refrain from swearing or using offensive language during the meeting. It has also been quite some time since our last offline meeting, so I would like to remind everyone not indulge in crosstalk and to refrain from moving around while the speaker is on stage. If you have to move or leave the room, please wait until the speaker has finished speaking to prevent any disruptions. Additionally, speakers are requested to note that there will be time disqualifications if they exceed the time limits for their speeches. And a reminder, voting and suggestion forms will be sent at the end of each meeting, so please ensure that you be filled. I would like to now hand over control to our presiding officer, Mr. Sean.
But if you maybe I do even like to correct my thoughts. Welcome to meeting number 322. We have a few first time note players. First time note players. Other after first time after first time type. That's the first time. Congratulations to both of you. I hope you guys have fun. If the grammarian is this your first time being grammarian, it's a prepared speech marathon where we have all four speakers, all of them sitting together. Like, what? Some questions. One of you guys is an imposter, and you really have a long answer. So, all the very best to all of you guys speakers. I think I'm back with the Toastmaster if you don't.
Hello again, I'm back, but this time as your general evaluator. The role of the general evaluator is to evaluate today's meeting and to provide feedback on your actions, on what went well and what areas we could improve upon. To assist me, I have my wonderful tag team with me. First up, we have our timer for the day, Toastmaster Nujit.
Yes. Yes. So I have the time of the day, and as a timer, my duty is to take note the timings of every speaker and taken by every speaker on stage. So I'll also indicate the speakers with their time left by showing green, green, yellow, and red. So the timings will be as follows. Prepared speakers should be prepared speeches should be 5 to 7 minutes. Green card 5 minutes, yellow card at 6 minutes, and red card at 7 minutes. Validation speeches should be 2 to 3 minutes. Green card at 2 minutes, yellow card at 2 minutes 30 seconds, red card at 3 minutes. An additional buffer time of 30 seconds will be given. Anyone exceeding the buffer time will be considered as time disqualified. And I'll give a detailed report when I later. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Okay. Next up, we have our accountant for the day, Toastmaster Hari.
That the was well handled. And when I respect the speakers, and definitely people that is like have like
Thank you, Toastmaster Hari. Next up, we have our grammarian for the day, Toastmaster Ishka. I think it's going to be it. So yes, Hello everyone, I will be your coach for today. So as the grammar guide for the day, I will be keeping a close watch on your grammar and language usage throughout the evening. And I'll be on the lookout for good usages as well as any grammatical mistakes that you might make in your school today. I'll be presenting all these at the end of the meeting in my grammatics report so that you can work on and utilize the feedback for next time. Additionally, I will also give the lookout for our word of the day. And if you use the word of the day, maybe you get expression. So the word of the day, complacent. It means to be willing to please others and to agree to their wishes, often in a polite and obliging way. For example, Toastmaster Veda is so complacent. She always agrees to take on extra tasks, hesitating. Or she's so complacent. She even says yes to pineapple on pizza. I hope to see you all creatively use the word of the day in your speeches today. And again, maybe you'll get a very special treat if you use the word treat. That was not the treat in your speeches today. So yes, I'll be tracking all your highlights and grammatical mistakes that you might make in your speeches today. Keep an eye out for the word of the day. Back to the general evaluator. Thank you, Jovarian and tag team. So today we will be having a prepared speech marathon and we have 4 speakers all set as well as all with varied speeches. First up, we have Toastmaster Aarti, who will be delivering her L3P1 today. To evaluate her speech, we have Toastmaster Subhash, who will be Toastmaster Aarti's individual evaluator. I invite Toastmaster Subhashni to brief us on Toastmaster Aarti's project speech and the role. Subhashni.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Taswama, and I will be evaluating Toastmaster Aarti, who will be doing her L3P1 in strategic planning. Innovative planning. Hey, I was close enough. Strategic planning sounds like an important skill. So the purpose of this project is for the member to practice developing and presenting proposal. So the member completing the project would have spent time developing a proposal for some area of her life, and the speech would have to be a well-structured speech. The proposal can affect any area of the member's life, be it their personal life, professional life, or as a close structure. The member may present the entire proposal or aspects of it. The speech may be humorous, informational, or any style the member chooses to use. The style of the speech should fit the content, however. And the speech is not a report on the content of presented proposal project. So that those will be objectives of the particular speech. And I wish you all the best for that. Over that.
Thank you, Toastmaster Subhashni. So yes, flashing my bags. Toastmaster Aarti, are you ready? Yes. Okay. Toastmaster Aarti, who faces true bonds? True faces, true bonds, Toastmaster Aarti. There was a time when I used to think that people have only one face, and that face is what we see. But then I met my classmate Jill. One day, Jill was talking to me about a girl, let's call that girl Amy, and she was telling me, bro, this Amy has a lot of attitude. I can't stand her in my life. And I was just listening to her. I was agreeing with it. I thought, oh wow, finally some person who shares the same feelings as me. And I started talking about whatever Amy did to me without knowing how she would react. But then a few moments later, I saw Amy hugging the son. A few moments later, I saw Jill hugging Amy as if they were long lost besties. And they were talking to each other more than I spoke to Jill. Looking at it, I thought, hold on. I was talking to Jill about Amy. None of it was good. Now we have to be besties with each other. But then I realized that this is not the first time I'm encountering such a person. Fellow Toastmasters, I know that we might have met the Jill at some point in our lives who show a very two-faced behavior. At one moment, we are the people with whom we share a lot, but then the very next moment, we are the same person around whom we gossip. Now, if 1 or 2 people are like that, we could somehow manage, right? But what if majority of the crowd is like that? What if the person with whom we are with is a person like Jill? Or worse, what if we start becoming like Jill without any other choice?
That's why I decided to come up with a proposal to surround ourselves with the people who truly value us, not show a two-faced behavior, and also distance ourselves from people who don't show a two-faced behavior. The first thing is to stop being a person like Jill. Sometimes we tend to think negative about a person, but then we end up being close to them. That attitude should stop. Before trying to change others, we have to look into ourselves and think if we need a change in ourselves. If we do, then we can, if we do need a change, then change yourself first before changing others. Because as they always say, change comes from within. And the second one is a pretty obvious one, but again requires a lot of effort. And that is to surround ourselves with people who we love. Sometimes we tend to surround ourselves with people who show a little value to us, or who do not show value to us, or they don't talk much to us, or they backstab us. In such situations, we could do two things. Either we can talk to that person face to face about the problem, or else we can distance ourselves from such people. Now, distancing is not effective, and it definitely takes a lot of work. But then communicating the problem to that person first before distancing ourselves would be a better option. Try to communicate your problem. Try to make them understand why you have a problem with them. If they are willing to change, well and good. But if they are not, then the only worst case scenario is distance yourself from such people. Now, you might think, what if we distance ourselves from majority of the crowd? Because sometimes we find ourselves in a situation where the entire world is confused. We have to realize that we are not completely distancing ourselves from such people. We're just maintaining the same distance from them. We are discussing sensitive topics. We are discussing sensitive topics with only the people whom we trust a lot. And we are maintaining a very cordial relation with such people who show very in-face behavior. In case they want our help, we can help them. In case we want their help, we can ask them. That is the only kind of relation that we can maintain with them. Now, why I came up with this proposal is because about 3 months ago, I thought that maybe my entire class has two faces because I always used to find myself isolated in my notes. But whenever I talk to them, I always felt that they have two faces or they are never true to me. But then, on my birthday at 12 a.m., my classmate at my hostel surprised me with a very cute, low budget cake made with cottage chocolate pie. And for some reason, that became a memory for because I thought that maybe I don't vibe with them or maybe I don't need anything with them. But then they felt the need to surprise me on my special day and it truly felt special. Now, maintaining a cordial relation is the kind of relation that truly matters in our life. You should always be honest to the people we love. And you should also be true to them in whatever situation comes. In the end, what matters is not the friendly. All that matters is honesty and the memory that matter. So let's give more hugs than possible, more understanding than judgment, and more love than we think the world is. Happy to be invited.
You Toastmaster Auntie, that was a wonderful speech. Majority of the time, never know who is two-faced. I would like to accuse my sister who's not here of being two-faced because she ate my entire stash of Oreos without telling me about it. That's an example of two-faced. Okay, next up, we have Toastmaster Anand, who will be delivering his L1P4 today. To evaluate his speech, we have Toastmaster Veda, who will be Toastmaster Anand's individual evaluator. I invite Toastmaster Veda to brief us more about Toastmaster Anand's project speech and good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I am Toastmaster Veda, and today we have the pleasure of hearing Toastmaster Anand deliver his level 1 project 4 speech. So the next project, Runway Chat Feedback, I think it's a milestone in one's Toastmasters journey because it focuses on two important skills: receiving constructive feedback and using it to improve further speeches. So today, Toastmaster Anand will deliver the first part of his L1 receive feedback and apply the improvements and give an additional speech, which will be the second part of his L1 project. So I wish Toastmaster Anand the very best, and I'm confident that you will make the best out of this. Thank you, Toastmaster Veda. Now, Rohan. Right, Toastmaster Anand, let's get you on stage. Toastmaster Anand, a New Year gift. A New Year gift, Toastmaster Anand.
Shall we start by constructive? I usually give out humorous speeches, but today I'm going to try something. Unlike my hairstyle today, my speech is not on purpose. So I invite you all to participate in this brief moment of introspection. Please close your eyes. Take a deep breath and ask yourself this profound question. Am I really happy in my life? Now open your eyes. Please be honest with yourself. How many of you can confidently say that I am actually happy with my life? Great. And how many of you can say, I'm not sad, but I'm not happy either? And then resume the rest of as unsaid. I've got something to share. Just 3 to 4 months ago, or 4 to 5 months ago. Yeah, just 3 to 4 months ago. I was in the same situation as you are there. I was searching, hoping, and wondering for happiness. Then I got a single gift that transformed my entire perspective. And today I stand before you as a changed man. Now, before I present people the gift, let's time travel and go back to 3 to 4 months back. Let me start first about my relationship with my parents. I used to be irritated and angry with them for every little. My mom used to enter my room and utter a very simple word, and I used to go like, please don't come, please don't disturb me, go out. There were days in my home when I used to isolate myself, didn't speak also. This all started because I put myself under the immense stress during JEE. These were the effects of it, and the PTSD didn't go. Secondly, imagine yourself sitting with your friends, talking and chatting, laughing, but your mind is somewhere else. You're constantly thinking about what happiness you want, what you want to do tomorrow, what you want to do the next week. Somebody relate with that? What happens if it happens every single day? What will you feel if it happens every single day? Quite depressed, right? I was in the same situation. And most of all, I was very bad. I will nod my head. I will look at your eyes, but I won't actively listen to this. As you speak to me, I'll be thinking about what is the next sentence that I should say, and I would imagine how you would respond to that by showing your really laughing face. And based on that, I will alter my sentence. As I keep doing this, I became very self-centered, very emotionally disconnected, and very polarized. And the ultimate trap of this conditional happiness. Conditional happiness is when you satisfy a condition in order to be happy. It's something like, I will be happy once I get my job, or I'll be happy if I get a particular person in my life, or I'll be happy if I get top marks in college. It could be anything like that. Now, once you have this mindset, you will be in an endless vicious trap. You will always run but not arrive. You will chase but not experience. Always you wake up, run, repeat. Wake up, run, repeat. That's the thing. I was in this situation. How many of you can relate to that? At this point, I decided to do. At this point, something changed in me. I started writing gratitude. So First, I definitely knew that I'm not going to be consistent with it. So you know what I did? I asked my friends, I made an unbreakable vow. What is that? And in case I wish, I'm going to send you gratitude journal every day. So if you miss out on one single day, I'll give you anything that you want from the Amrita Academy. I told him. And he was like, sure, Anand, sure. Yes, absolutely. And that is the point when I started the scenes. I started writing how I was grateful to my parents for every little insignificant thing. Something like when my mom made coffee after I returned to home, or when my dad worked, or when my dad dropped me to the railway station, or when my mom made breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Everything I wrote it down. And as I wrote it down, I heartily felt the gratitude of me. This slowly healed my bonds with them. Next, I urged myself to stay in with it. Remember, I told you how I was actually constantly thinking about how to pursue a happiness when I was with friends. Not at all physically present, but mentally absent. That was I was. But I urged myself to stay in the present moment, to love the present moment. And as I tried the next day to stay in the present moment, I captured all the details, all my five senses. And later that day, I wrote down, and I wrote down with such a happiness. I described my happiness. You know what an effect it had? It had a positive reinforcement that gave me that reinforced the habit of saying this. And thirdly, I realized that I had this big craving for attention, attention of others. I also realized that others also were like me. So if I gave them the attention they want, they'll be really happy. That's what I thought. But this realization did not come very fast. It came very slow. And when I started doing that, I wrote this down too. I wrote how happy I felt when they told me that I was actually giving attention to them themselves. So these kind of things, these kind of gratitude notes really reinforce all the positive habits. And finally, it transformed me into a man who believes that it is not the pursuit of happiness that the fulfillment lies in the happiness of person. Now I give the here a joy, a joyful life which is made of gratitude notes. You can write about the person. Let it be your mom, let it be your dad, or let it be the person who actually planted the tree under which you're standing, or let it be the person who delivered you the parcel, or let it be anyone. Just write a gratitude note for 5 minutes every day. This will transform your life. Just 5 minutes is enough. Gratitude journaling actually has the power to break a habit that you hate and build a habit that you desire. And remember again, happiness of pursuit is best, not pursuit of happiness. Thank you.
I like to think my idea of when I gaslight myself into sleeping early so that I can wake up happy the next day, which I never had to do anyway. Thank you again, Toastmaster Anand, for that wonderful speech. Next up, we have Toastmaster Althea, who will be delivering his L2P1 today. To evaluate his speech, we have Toastmaster Sean, who will be Toastmaster Althea, the individual evaluator. I invite Toastmaster Sean to brief us all about his evaluation. Here, please, everyone.
That also, I wake up today morning to that first. Because of this, we have a person joining us online. Hello. This we have a prepared speech marathon happening. I'll ask you to introduce yourself and things at the end of it. So I've been awake all morning from back, so it's very good. So my not my I was fast my friend those fast out there is giving his L2P1, right? And that is basically understanding your leadership style. So what Toastmasters gives is they give you an overview of your different of the different leadership styles. And basically what you have to do is you have to either identify what you sort of align with, or you just have to give a general speech about the different types of leadership styles. All right. So the purpose of this project is for the member to identify their primary leadership style or styles. And it is also for the member to share some aspect of their primary leadership style or discuss leadership styles in general. All right. It is a lot of self-reflection, takes a lot of self-thought in order to come to your leadership style. So that's it. Looking forward to your speech. Back to the
Oh, okay. Thank you, Toastmaster Sean. All right, Toastmaster Aditya, the stage is all yours. Toastmaster Aditya, Trinity. Trinity, Toastmaster Aditya.
Good evening, everyone. I am Roshni here, and today, fascinating time. I promise you'll get to know it in time, but let's start off with leadership. Quite the thing. It takes your head to handle yourself. It takes your heart for everything. Eleanor Rosen, quite, quite the words. I was dumbstruck when I first found it. It spoke to me in a way I could not make this thing. In a sense, it is easier to rule a city than it is to rule yourself. And when I first set out on this venture to explore leadership, I thought leadership might be amoral. I thought, regardless of your morality, you could be a leader. Perhaps Hitler could be a great, considered a great leader. Stalin. But you have good ones. You have our dear Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, and you have Optimus Prime. And the reason I make it close is because I believe stories are where memories go when they are recorded. I believe we look at fiction as we look to ourselves. Otherwise, why would we? And while you can have many different styles of leadership, as I found out during my project, there were 8 styles going on here. And there was a test they had to take. And based on your score, it gives you a particular set of leadership you are most attuned to. Your natural way of leading. I got a 6 on all of them. Which means I didn't know what kind of leader I was. I wasn't sure how do I deal with this. So I approached our dear Toastmaster Subhash and she said, figure it out. So talk about all of them, it's fine. Then I went to Toastmaster Samir, former Toastmaster Samir, and I asked him, he was my mentor, what do I do? This doesn't make sense to me. How can I be a leader together? And he said, first, Aditya, I don't believe you considered it. I don't think you explored yourself enough. And secondly, why not? Why can't you? So I thought, okay, fine. Maybe there could be different types of leaders, but there must be some commonalities. So I went where everyone goes when they're in doubt online. And I figured out the first thing, the first quality characteristic of a leader is they must know where they are going. If you are leading a path of people who believe in you, who follow you, you can't lead them around in circles. You can't lead them to their doom. You can't lead them to, at least in your opinion, what you think is the equivalent of heaven. You may never get there, but a good and decent goal beneficial to all. This is one of the most foremost characteristics of a leader, vision, foresight, seeing what will happen and leading to it. Our second characteristic I found was a lot deeper. It was sacrifice. One thing when you become a leader is you understand you must get yourself in order. There is no fairness without one. Headless back is as good as a mob. They will follow anyone who leads them. So what does it mean to be peaceful? It means to understand that you have taken on something in return. Understand that you will make this happen, your blood, sweat, and toil. And you will not stop because you have promised something. You have vowed it. The moment you decide you are a leader, there is no going back. There is no you anymore. There is only another.
And while you still draw breath, while your heart still beats, there is no together. Doesn't matter what's happening. The moment you pick that phone, it is all about them. And that vow, that promise can never be broken. There can be harsh leaders, there can be kind leaders, but we will always follow some. But about it. And the third, you will be the greatest character of leader is the question itself. Is to ask the question, who am I? Who am I? Who do I think I am? That I am good, that I deserve this. And newsflash, none of us are. We are not born leaders. We never are. It's through the fire of this responsibility that we mold us, that we forge ourselves into this unbreakable shield and sword. This epitome of someone in heaven. And you will have doubts. You will want to stop having doubts. Should doubt us. You are certainly good. Leaders will have doubts, not understands. When it comes to go, they lead. There is a rule of leaders. You do not speak first. You let everyone else have their say, and then you speak. Everyone gets a say. You speak for them, not before them, not to them, for them. It intrigues me, this kind of leadership. This sort of great sacrifice that no one seems to be prepared for. And I began to question my will and do I have what it takes? And then came out the movie Dune 2 and this beautiful line. Great men do not seek to lead. They are called. They're called to this messianic sense of the world needing them. This inner urge, if they just stepped up, they would make the world different. And when I saw them, I realized why. I don't give them. That's all it is. Is that no matter what you have done, no matter how many mistakes you have made, I forgive. God knows I have made mistakes. None of them I will not. And even if they are, I forgive you. It does not matter. Because in you, I see the same promise I once did. We're all of this. And I trust each and every one of you that when the moment comes, you will make one choice. Thank you.
Here was some patriotic speech. I just need a minute to calm myself down. Oh, all right. Last but not the least, happens Master Kalyani, who will be delivering her L1P4 today. To evaluate her speech, we have Toastmaster Aarti, who will be Toastmaster Kalyani's individual evaluator. I invite Toastmaster Aarti to brief us on Toastmaster Kalyani's project speech and her role.
So, I'll be Toastmaster Vidyapeetham individual evaluator today. She's delivering her level 1 project for first speech. So, level 1 project consists of 3 speeches. The first one is to deliver a speech. Second one is to collect the feedback from the first speech and incorporate it in your second speech. The third one will be to serve as the individual evaluator. So, Toastmaster Kalyani will be giving her speech today, and I'll be giving my feedback for that speech, and she will be delivering a fresh speech in the next meeting or in the other ones. So I wish Toastmaster Kalyani all the very best. Back to the session.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aarti. I think this is good exercise story. All right, Toastmaster Kalyani. The icebreaker speech. The icebreaker experience. Toastmaster Kalyani.
Amidst the busy schedule of person, on a random evening in November, I decided to join Toastmasters. Well, I'm not being sarcastic about the busy schedule. As a person who's bad at multitasking, you should not have joined Toastmasters. This is what my parents told me. Well, in between all of these mixed opinions, I got a sort of existential crisis as to why I joined Toastmasters. Even though people were asking me, it's just sem 1. Couldn't you have waited longer? How about second year? Well, Toastmasters, have you ever had an experience in which you delivered a speech and while delivering your speech, the entire time you thought this impression is going to last only for a life? Anybody? Okay. I don't know whether that's a good experience or a bad experience for all of you. Well, for me, it was a bad, and that impression still haunts me. Well, a week or so before my first sem in semester, I was asked to deliver my icebreaker speech. I asked whether I could postpone it to another slot, but my mentor, Toastmaster Roshni, told me that it's already a month late. How about you deliver it in the upcoming slot? I agreed on it because it was getting too late. I did not want to postpone my speech to another term, that is January to June. I wanted to do speech as soon as possible. That was one of the mistakes I made because it's a pretty hectic schedule the week before your results. Moving on to the day of my presentation, my icebreaker speech. I had a CPS presentation, which was 30 minutes prior to the meeting. Well, the only good news on that day was I had done pretty well and I scored an 8 or a 9 out of 10. And that kept me motivated, thinking I would do my icebreaker well. Well, after my CPS presentation, I had to walk from AB 3 to AB 1. So, to all the new members, meetings used to happen in AB 1. So, the entire time I was just recalling all the points continuously till I reached the meeting room. And thank God I was on time, just a minute before the meeting started. So, as we all know, there are 2 prepared speakers on a normal meeting. So, I was the second prepared speaker of the day, and the first prepared speaker was Toastmaster Aryan. While he was presenting his speech, I lost all my confidence in him. I tried to recollect points, nothing worked. And by the time he finished his speech, I could barely remember 50%, not even 15%, probably 4. And as Toastmaster Roshni was the general director, she called me up on stage and asked me for my speech title because I forgot to text her first. I was just staring at her blankly, very blankly, and Toastmaster Roshni asked me, "You have a speech title?" I was saying, I forgot the speech title. She couldn't discourage me either on stage because first thing, that's not how Toastmaster Roshni works, and second thing, she was my mentor. She told me how to just say something, get to stage, and I just made something up. I still don't remember what my speech title was. I tried going through my old document which had my speech. I didn't even note it down. So, name this one for my speech. So, while presenting, I planned out so much in it. So much that I just presented the icebreaker for the sake of presenting it. After the meeting, all the Toastmasters came forward and comforted me, stating that a day would come when you would be presenting a speech on your icebreaker exercise. Well, according to all of you, why do we have embarrassing moments in life? Just one. Because you think it's wrong with mistakes and embarrassing. Yeah, that's one perspective. Well, my perspective is you you get embarrassed. You have to learn a lesson from. Well, I read this quote while preparing the speech. That life is a series of embarrassing moments, and it will make you feel in confusion and in shame. Well, I would like to add a small confusion to that. It just ended like this. I felt it as a pretty negative quote, so I thought I'll add a positive touch. We have an option to save that confusion and shame and make our way through. Or we can sit and sulk about it for the rest of our lives. I could have sat and complained to my roommate, said, you know what, my icebreaker was so bad. I don't want to do my next speech. I want to quit Toastmasters. I could have said that and I could have sat in my room. I could have stopped Toastmasters within the first 2 months of joining. Well, that's not what I wanted. Fast forwarding to this day of my L1P4, I have improved in such a better way that I thought I would not while presenting my icebreaker speech. I just made sure that even though I start the preparation of my icebreaker speech, not sorry, any given speech, I would not refer to any website, not even ChatGPT, and I would write the speech from thoughts that come within me. I try my maximum not to take my help from any given source or anybody. And I just constantly practice it in front of a mirror or in front of my friends and keep a timer to just check if I go above the time. So, guys, why would life throw an embarrassing situation or any given bad situation if you weren't to learn from? Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Kalyani. People also say that first impressions are the best impressions, and it's very, very hard to ensure that all goes accordingly so that you can give out your best first. So thank you for that wonderful speech describing it, Toastmaster Kalyani. Now that we've been dazzled by all our prepared speakers for today, we will be moving on to the evaluation session. First, I call upon Toastmaster Subhashini to present her evaluation on Toastmaster Arvi's speech.
How many of you like listening to this inspirational speeches? I don't expect such a big amount because I personally hate listening to this advice filled speeches like, yes, 20 minutes, I'm just going to talk about how you should get rid of your anger and then solve all the problems in your life. So you hear speeches like that all the time and I cannot. And this speech was the exact opposite of that. Toastmaster are they make such an important topic. It's something that affects everyone's life and managed to convey it such an engaging and brilliant way. I like the conversational style of speech that Toastmaster Aarti offered. It is very brilliant. So I felt at times that it was a conversation she was having with me and not a prepared speech on stage. This feeling was amplified by the very good use of intonation she had, the way in which words rise and fall as one speaks. So while vocal variety as a whole is how you use different tones to engage the audience. Intonation is how you emphasize each word in order to place emphasis on it. And her use of that was brilliant. She also had great body language that matched what she was saying. So as she described her emotions in the beginning with her friend and towards the end, when she was trying to make a point, her body language and her hand gestures matched what she was saying. And overall, I was impressed by how all of the content was put together in a very concise manner. The topic of the proposal was introduced in a very smooth manner, and the solution to it was also presented very well. I picked out a concise note of what the points presented were, and they were quite wonderful. And it's a problem that we really do face. Everyone around you at some point will feel that everyone's two-faced. Who do you trust? And as we grow older and go on as adults into the world, you notice this even more. So look inwards Do not be a hypocrite and distance yourself from crowd who are not conducive to you and your growth. And I really like this. I really like the points and I like how they were structured in your script. Some things that I wish to have done differently. The first thing would be eye contact. So this was hardly had very eye contact. However, there was a lot of eye contact was here. And the first row, I did not see you look at me once. And a lot of times I think that you were thinking, you were looking sideways. So it was somewhat like this. So I think you can work on that and try to have more that really eye contact and just look at people in bit. And another point I think I end up doing this, everyone else is doing this. If you end up pausing your speech, pause, do not say sorry for doing something. It's all right when we speak. And movement, there are not a lot, I don't know to do while speaking as well, but I think that you had a lot of sway. I think you can prevent speech. So overall, great speech, great intonation, great use of body language, great topic. Congratulations on finishing your LGT project.
Wow, thank you. This one. Huh? Thank you, Toastmaster Subhashini. Now I would like to call upon Toastmaster Aarti to give her evaluation.
It was quite ironic evaluating Toastmaster Ani today because she was very passionate about her icebreaker speech, which was a very same speech I was evaluating. So to be honest, it was a lot of nostalgia because I still remember that day when Toastmaster Kalyani gave her icebreaker. And of course, I can relate to it a lot because I remember my icebreaker, how tense I was and how I did it. But yeah, of course, it was a topic that resonated with most of us, given that all of the members here are Toastmasters. And of course, if either of them are guests, they will also relate to it because everybody has their own fair share of stage experiences which they feel that that's about. So which are conveying it really well. Some of the things that I really liked about Toastmaster Kalyani's speech is number one, the gestures. She was using a lot of gestures and that was conveying the emotions really well in her throughout the speech. Second thing was her flow of the speech. So she started with narrating her story. She started it with her journey with Toastmasters while joining, and then giving her icebreaker, and then what happened after icebreaker, and then a message. So she crafted the flow very beautifully, and it was having very good flow. So good job on that. However, a few suggestions that I would give her for her next speech for number one, the eye contact was very scattered. So Toastmaster was looking at the floor and then she was looking at the wall. And then she did have a very lifted eye contact towards the audience. So I would suggest her to have more eye contact towards the audience so that would make the audience feel more connected to the speech. Secondly, the stage movement was a little bit excessive. So try to control it. So try to control it a little more, like use the triangle method while talking. Of course, I struggle with stage movement, but it is something that would come with practice. So try to incorporate that in your next speech. And thirdly, try to ask more questions in the speech. I would actually ask one question in the middle. So if she could have she could have more audience interaction, it would be much better for more active speeches. So overall, a great speech with an amazing flow. However, I improved eye contact and asking more questions would make the speech even better. So put that on your next speech. Plan to
I feel like I'm playing a double role. Gentle evaluation. All right. Yes. All right. Next up, we have Toastmaster Veda. Toastmaster Short. Next up, we have Toastmaster Short. Which will be next up, we have Toastmaster Veda, who will be presenting her evaluation on the Anand Edward. So I was the individual evaluator for Toastmaster speech. To begin with, it was a very relatable speech to me personally, especially when you talk about unconditional happiness. I think something that everybody must have done at least once in their life. So Toastmaster Anand began his speech with a little joke and a little bit of audience interaction, and he was able to capture the attention of the audience very easily. He then moved on to talk about his relationship with his parents, and this part of the speech was very honest. And he told us how he felt every time he had a conversation with them. And I think it was put together in a very nice way. We were able to understand how Toastmaster Anand felt in that particular situation. I like the way Toastmaster Anand let us visualize each situation by providing accurate examples to the same. Toastmaster Anand, your stage presence was excellent and you made your speech more expressive. It already was very expressive, but it was more expressive because of the gestures and hand movements that you did on stage. Now, things that you could improve on. Firstly, I think you used to improve phrases like he was like or she was like. So I think it would be better if you said more put together phrases like he, she said, or he told me, etc. It would make your speech together and more polished. Secondly, you also use phrases like the PTSD didn't go. I'm not saying it's something informal, but I suggest that you use little more formal language and during a prepared speech, especially in a speech that is not a humorous one. And I feel like sometimes during your speech, you were a little discreet. Like you were saying thoughts and different phrases that weren't exactly full sentences. It made sense as a whole, like we were able to understand what you were saying, but it would be better if it was a proper sentence, full sentence. Lastly, you had a strong finish with the quote, and you provided your perspective on that quote too. It was very nice and something that all of us have something to think about that. And you also tied the whole concept of happiness. That's when you started. You asked a question, and at last you were talking about happiness, and it tied a knot on your entire speech. Like you related your ending to your beginning of the speech. That was very nice. So, and you also provided us something to take away, that is practice strategy. So overall, Toastmaster had a good stage presence. You had amazing gestures. You were able to write your script well. Like you could understand what you were trying to say as a whole. You had good flow. Some things you could improve on. Have consistent flow. Use proper sentences as a whole, and not just thoughts here and there. And try to avoid totally informal phrases. With your speech would sound more formal in that way. Thank you.
Veda, finally, we have Toastmaster Sean, who will be presenting his evaluation on Toastmaster Aditya's LP1 project.
Can you share a speech?
Where did you learn that from?
I need to check what the syllabus from the gun chairman's. All right. So the issue with an individual evaluation is I'm not really sure how to speak for 2 minutes. Because most of the things I get is pretty straightforward. I think it should be fine now. First off, Toastmaster Reza, I apologize for the whole order change. I forgot that you had a ID that I want to go next. I thought I was going next and I was like, should I? But that's not the point. The thing is, leadership. I am the president of the club. Leadership is something I have a lot in common with. I know that might be hard to swallow, but yes, I do have a lot in common with leadership. So when you were talking about the different phases, let's talk about your speech in there. Your speech was very well done. You had excellent story, you had the not story, the flow, right? It worked well together. All the bits and pieces fit together. They were a perfect puzzle. That 500-piece puzzle, you do everything. You find that one piece you lost, find you everything, and then you finally fit it, and you're like, done. It's perfect. I've never seen a more beautiful piece of work. It was like that. Then when it comes to clarity, your voice was very clear. You were able to convey the essence of the speech very effectively about leadership, about the different aspects of leadership. You used a vocal variety. You used your voice as a very effective tool used it, you were slow when you needed to be, you were calm, quiet. You managed to speak very effectively. Eye contact was maintained very well. Gestures, you will use gestures, audience awareness, the audience was very aware. I would like if you will a bit more audience engagement, right? Because I believe there was more audience engagement. A few more, maybe a bit more questions, maybe something I've learned, something like that. Comfort level, you're very comfortable on stage. The audience is very interested in everything you have to say. Topic. The purpose of your speech was to give a speech on your leadership style or on leadership styles. It was not to give a speech on leadership. As such, I would like to ask you to repeat your purpose. All right. Now, these are your comments on the speech itself. There is a quote from Shakespeare. Heavy is the head upon which that lies the ground. It is a very significant quote, something that you always think about when you become a leader. In the run to become a leader, your people supporting you can find. When you become a leader, you spend nights wondering if this was what you were supposed to do. You doubt every action, every choice. Because, like you said, there is no you, there is they, them. Your schedule is not your schedule. Your schedule is your schedule. That's what it means to be. And you manage to convey that very effectively. Also, one more issue. You use a bit too many pores. I like to dial back on a bit more that because this again, I was trying not to be very. I was trying to make sure that you were evaluated very well for AC person. Right? Because I assume you have analyzed. Two things. One, try to make the topic go later. Right? Because leadership is not something everyone, especially there are some intricacies of leadership. It's not something everyone is comfortable with. Everyone has to talk them about. So because of that, try to talk choose a topic that's slightly more relatable to the audience. You're crafting a speech for that, nice. And yeah, goals as well. When you say that, that's it. Thank you very much.
Sean, now let's hear our tag team reports on today's meeting. First up, we have our timer for the day, Toastmasters okay. Toastmasters okay.
Timer report of the day. So for the project speeches, we have Toastmaster RT for 5 minutes, 20 seconds. Toastmaster Anand for 8 minutes. Toastmaster Aditya for 7 minutes, 18 seconds. Toastmaster Kalyani for 7 minutes, 13 seconds. We have one time as well for Toastmaster. For individual evaluations, we have Toastmaster Subhashini, 3 minutes 17 seconds. Toastmaster Vedavashini for 3 minutes on point. Toastmaster Sean for 4 minutes 16 seconds. Toastmaster Aarti for 2 minutes. So also have one disqualification. For consistency.
Thank you, Toastmaster okay. Next up, we have our counter for the day, Toastmaster Harilan.
Starting with the prepared sections, the first talking about questions is starting. Toastmasters are here at least 6 hours, and there are a lot of repetitive uses of vaguely and non-knowledgeable speech. And so you start with saying sorry, so that was starting with the and using a music before trying to so that was the sound moment. And change definitely is there using of such dressing. And moving on to the Toastmaster Anand. Toastmaster Anand has used two R and one was raw. And what of that because these are raw. And this one bites, this right voice. And how do you learn the word, how do you clever system, and what insignificant fulfillments, grammar, a constant standard of one awareness to stable his words. And there were other everything usage of unwind form, bond, and bond. And moving on to Toastmaster Arabia. Toastmaster Arabia can be still asked. There are repetitive words like have you and acquired. And moving on to Toastmaster Kalyani. Toastmaster Kalyani has inspired us 8 and 400 and 400. 4. So moving on to Toastmaster Subhashini. Toastmasters, yeah, moving on to the evaluation. Moving on to the evaluation. So Toastmaster Subhashini has used to fool us. I'm very sorry that mom is and fool us, fight us, and then a repetitive usage of words with just and so. And other words such as how to do, how to do, so there were examples where presenting such words. Moving on to Toastmaster Veda. Toastmaster Veda has 16 hours to like, and there were repetitive usage of the words is, I will talk about the and Toastmaster Sean who used 4 hours, and there were repetitive usage of the word winding. Toastmaster Aki, where we 7 hours, 2 because, and there was someone in the word she started.
Thank you, Toast, for the highlight. It's your first time giving on the role of account, and that was brilliant. That's correct. Next up, we have our grammarian, myself. All right, so who is one of the grammarian support? First up, we have the word of the day. Very good. Thank you, Toast, and Sean for using the word of the day. Initially, I intended to give an answer to the word, but then I thought because it's only Toast and Sean, I start. You can have the 4 of Saturday and the holiday. That's so fun. So I'll take moving on to the actual word. We have good usages. First up, we have change comes from within. That's a very good way to describe how we have to change in right? Then no budget cake. A very good way to describe what Australia's birthday is. Next up, we have wandering for happiness. That is also very great because you often have to struggle a lot to achieve even small amount of happiness in life. Heal my bonds. A very good way to describe building back your bonds, your relationship with your loved ones. Thank you, Master Anand. In the happiness of pursuit compared to pursuit of happiness. That's a very good mirror page to show the difference between. So that's a wonderful sentence. Thank you for that again. And then to Master Aditya, commonality. That is a very good usage of an uncommon word. There is no them without you. A brilliant way to describe leadership. Then we have through the fire of responsibility, we mold ourselves. I felt like I was a volunteer being told that was also very usage. Life throwing embarrassing moments at us. A very good usage of the literary tool of personification to personify life. Throwing embarrassing moments at us. Okay, and now we have the grammatical mistakes and the corrections. I am encountering such a person could be changed to I have encountered such a person. You have to match the tense in your speech. Think negative about the person could be changed to think negatively about the person. That sounds more grammatically accurate. Who show little value to us could be who do not value us as much or who do not value us much. That makes it more grammatically tied together. I used to be irritated could be changed to I used to get irritated. Under the immense stress, you could change it to under immense stress. We don't need the girl in there. In between all of these mixed opinions could be while it is not actually incorrect. You could revise it, make it more precise by changing it to amid all of these mixed opinions or among all of these opinions. I blanked out so much. Again, that's not grammatically incorrect, but to make it more precise, you could make it I blanked out so many times. It will make you feel in confused, should be changed to it will make you feel confused. And finally, we have everyone have their own fair share. We change to everyone has their own fair share. And that concludes my good place. Back to the general society. Thank you both, Mr. Shukla, support and the tag as well. Moving on to the general evaluator support. So the meeting started at 4:03, which meant that it started on time. And the best speech session that went smoothly, as well as the evaluation sessions. So in the prepared speech sessions, we had Toastmaster Aarti. You showed us with the help of a wonderful speech about life and how two-faced it really can be. Then we had Toastmaster Anand. You use the concept of conditional happiness of life itself as an emotion and you tie your speech together very well. Toastmaster Aditya, beautiful poetic speech on leadership and its characteristics. And then we have Toastmaster Kalyani, a wonderful speech about not giving up, about going through it despite life throwing us embarrassing situations every day. And then in the evaluation session, Toastmaster Subhashini, you gave a very detailed and organized evaluation of the speech. Toastmaster Aarti, you gave a concise report and to emphasize the importance of flow in Toastmaster Kalyani's speech, which oftentimes gets left out by a lot of people who are evaluating in general. Thank you for that. Toastmaster Veda, first time evaluating, you dissected the slang with the language and the pronoun usage of Toastmaster Anand's speech wonderfully, and I will thank you. It was a very concise report. Toastmaster Short, you had a well-rounded evaluation. You kept it light and brief, but at the same time, it was also detailed where it needed to be. Next up, we have the tag team. Thank you, both of you. You were first timers in your own roles, and you did it wonderfully. And I don't know what to say about myself. I leave it up to you. And that concludes my general evaluation speech. Back to the presiding officer.
Really like jokes or something.
I will get it.
Thank you very much, and evaluator Toastmaster Amrita, for your excellent level evaluation. That basically we are doing the meeting how much Toastmaster Amrita should be sending me. So it is soon. So soon it's already on the way. Or Google Maps says 1 minute away.
Yes.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Okay. Please take a moment to figure out. Your proposal very very good proposal. No, sir, I don't have any feedback. You should be. Really not very good. I'm going to content data. But I want to myself feedback. So, oh, so right, basically, after Subhash, I was going on stage, and I was like, I still need time to figure out my story. So I was like, it was okay, Aarti, go ahead. I was just it's I I wanted to get what finished that I didn't want. Did you all this? And then the best prepared speaker is Toastmaster Aditya. Then auxiliary role player as the tag team is Toastmaster Harley. The best individual evaluator is a tie between Toastmaster Subhashini and Toastmaster Nadella. Very much for attending meeting number 322. With that, I'd like to officially adjourn meeting number 322. Please feel free to join me up on stage for a photo with one we got.
Thank you. For part of it, you read. Your name is